got this from Fortune. Is Gen Z the financial anxiety generation? And on top of this, as we get into the Gen Z focus of this, from kellydry.com, October layoffs hit 22-year high. Legal considerations for employees. So it's just a blog. But take a look at this. We're looking at, what is it? Verizon, I think, just had mass layoffs. Amazon had mass layoffs. Gen Z has been labeled many things. Digital natives, blah, blah, blah. But financial anxiety, they do exhibit. Recent data from Afterpay reveals that more than half of Gen Z consumers report getting the ick from credit cards, with 63% switching to alternative payment methods as a result. Additionally, for the first time in nearly 4 years, U.S. debit card spending has outpaced credit card growth. Gen Z didn't grow up with the luxury of financial naivety, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. The point is, they say Gen Z's approach to money has created an entirely new category of financial products. The philosophy behind what I think is conscious spending, et cetera, et cetera. We get the point. The general idea, however, is that Gen Z is not able to make enough money to get apartments. Right. They're competing with illegal immigrants and quote-unquote refugees who get free spaces. They're buying food on credit cards because they don't make enough to simultaneously have an apartment and have credit cards. And it's happening at greater and greater rates, which is going to result in Gen Z dissociating or going communist. So I think what we're seeing now is Gen Z leftists are basically saying there is no light at the end of the tunnel. The society that you have built has left me destitute, so I will vote for Zoran Mamdani and AOC to take it from you, and I don't care if the system burns down. Yep. One thing I think everybody needs to understand. Let me tell you my perspective in 2008 when I was in my early 20s. The news is breaking. The economy is collapsing. People are getting laid off. And you know what I said? I laughed. You want to know why I laughed? Because I said, here's the floor, right? I want everyone to understand. Here's the floor. Here's me. Here's you. The economy collapses. I don't move an inch. I was already in bad shape. Things were already bad for me. So I'm not gonna be, oh no, woe is me, the market's collapsing. I don't see it. I was already sleeping on couches and barely making enough money as it is. So now when you have these young Gen Z leftists, you can go to them and say, if you vote for Zoran Mamdani or AOC, you will burn down the economy. They'll go, and? I am not serviced by this economy. I don't care if it's destroyed. Yeah, but it'll go Mad Max. Don't care. I'll get what I can and get out. What do you get on the right? It is Cove Pure. That's right. You guys have heard me talk about Cove Pure before, and for good reason. It's because I believe clean drinking water is one of the best investments you can make in your family's health. That's why we have the reverse osmosis filters here and reusable glass bottles. We want to give people the option for clean drinking water. Here's something you might not realize. When people are taking meds, their bodies don't absorb all of it. Much of that stuff gets flushed down the toilet, and water treatment plants are horrible at filtering out those leftover pharmaceuticals, things like antibiotics, antidepressants, and even hormone disruptors from birth control pills. No wonder people are getting messed up. And this is true. Don't you remember what Alex Jones said about the frogs? I'm just saying. Luckily, Cove Pure is lab certified to remove up to 99.9% of impurities. That includes fluoride, PFAs, agricultural runoff, and of course, pharmaceutical drugs. The first thing you're going to notice with Cove Pure is the taste. It sounds crazy, but I can absolutely taste the difference. It's completely ruined the taste of every other water for me. And Cove Pure makes it so easy. Sits on your countertop, no plumbers, no drilling. You just fill it up, plug it in. You can even select whatever temperature you want, hot, cold, warm, the tap of a button. You wouldn't take a stranger's drug prescription, so why accept their leftovers in your water? Really, that's disgusting, man. Protect yourself with the link below. Go to covepure.com/Tim for a limited time. You'll get $200 off. That's COVEPURE.com/Tim. And really, I got to tell you, the fluoride is what freaks me out because they've already proven that higher fluoride concentrations depresses intelligence. If you want to be dumb, then I guess drink your tap water. And if you want to be cognizant of what is going on in the world, you can watch Timcast and drink clean drinking water. The right just simply says Trump's abandoned us, and they go Zoomerwaffen. They say, we got to form our own communities. We got to restructure government. We need more authoritarian controls. I'm not calling them Nazis and saying they're authoritarians. I'm saying
nationalists.
They want more authoritarian controls. They want more restrictions on cultural and social issues to restore a vision of what America used to be. That's the traditional conservative nationalist approach. Both sides are going to say the Make America Great Again is not the path for me. And then what's going to happen? The left is going to win, extract as much as they can, break and burn the system, and then those of us of moderate means, me, of course, obviously above that. I'm not trying to act like I'm not. But the people who have worked hard and found success are going to be stripped of that value and destroyed by an underclass that has upset the system, has abandoned them.
You know, the ping-ponging of Democrats get elected, then Republicans, then this guy failed me, now this guy failed me, is like, there's definitely outside forces manipulating that thing. So your hero gets in, and then you realize he's not the hero you wanted, and then you look the other direction, you vote for them, then you realize they're not the hero you thought they were, and then, but like at the top is like the Federal Reservists, the bankers, like bankrupting everybody and making billions of dollars.
The liberal economic order's cooked.
I hope,
and that's why Hassan's in China.
What's that?
And that's why Hassan is in China.
China and the World Economic Forum, they seem to be competing with the liberal economic order that's rupturing.
No, Davos is the liberal economic order.
And then there's the Chinese, the BRICS, the communist technocracy.
BRICS, right.
Where they'll just delete your bank account if you jaywalk or if you say the wrong words, if you violate the order.
That's what Zoomerwaffen's going to want.
I've been thinking like that, too.
That's what they're going to want. The younger Gen Z guys are going to say, we shouldn't let leftists burn everything down, and we shouldn't let these people steal from us. We need harder controls. And they're going... So the issue is...
The Spanish Civil War.
It's a question not of authoritarianism. It's a question of tradition versus progressivism. So the communist rise like Spain or Germany and Italy is fascists. They are traditionalist authoritarian. Communists, progressivist, authoritarian. The communists are like, destroy history, burn the books, and then we're going to blank slate. The fascists are like, protect our history, burn the progressive books, and then we're going to control the system. Both sides basically saying the other side is the problem, and they both have a morally divergent worldview. So they look at each other as like, you are causing problems to the world that I want. The other side, you are causing problems to the world that I want. Both are in agreement that the old school system of doing things does not function. So Hassan Piker goes to China and said, how does he describe it? He's like, you've got abundant consumerism next to Soviet era.
1950 Soviet style.
Communist blocks.
Yeah.
So Hassan wants to live in a country where the government will go to you and say, your ideas are bad for the machine. Deleted. That's how he wants to live. That's where we're going to go. And I am not convinced. Listen, man, I have given the benefit of the doubt to Cash, Dan, Pam, Trump, and all the people in the Trump administration the whole year. And Trump going on TV and saying more visas, more H-1Bs. I was like, that's it. That's it. I'm done.
Yeah, tone deaf. Listen, I think the solution is pretty simple. Charlie Kirk posted it plenty of times. It's been going around on Twitter so many times now. It's going viral. But I think the bottom line for the Gen Z, for people who are critical thinkers like ourselves, is to continue to voice out loud and to provide solutions to them. So like, again, trade school, mindset, financial literacy. Mindset is why. Because if they keep thinking like a victim as progressives want them to think, you're right, they won't care. Burn it all down.
You are correct. But here's the problem. Because I made this argument the other day. In that video where the guy's like, I'm a student full-time and I only have $17 and I work. And I'm like, opportunity exists.
Right.
And that is right. And I do think that is a smart play to make. I will add, however, the response that I see from Gen Z is, that's all well and good, Tim. I could work hard, but the communists are coming to take it from me anyway, so it's probably not a good idea to invest in that. The view now is, sure, I could go to trade school, I could work hard, and then once I finally get a house and make money, Zoran Mamdani is going to tax me, take my home, and they're going to attack me for being white. And it's like, well, I don't have a response.
Well, that is implying that Mamdani is going to rule over every city in America.
Look at the communists who just won in Seattle. Gen Z Democrats are saying we will burn your system down and take what we want because we haven't been serviced by this. And then the right's basically saying, even if I were to get a house right now, they're coming after us. Mm-hmm. And it's the point I'm making is not to give up. You're correct about the trade school and all that stuff. The point is, Trump's supposed to be the leadership saying, we're going to make sure you will be safe if you do right. If you have your house, if you have your family, you'll be protected. Instead, he's like, you won't be. I'm going to bring in Indians and Chinese to take your jobs. You're not going to get training. You're not going to get a career. It's going to go to them. And so the young people are like, okay, Trump's going to take it from me and the communists are taking it from me. So you're going to get Zoomerwaffen.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say, I think it confirms exactly who Donald Trump really is. He's a businessman, a deal maker, not a conservative, not a Republican.
He really didn't run as a conservative. He ran as a reformist. I get it. I'm not nearly as black-pilled. I live in Florida. It's awesome. I think we're going to balkanize a little bit. And to a certain degree, I know this is, I'm going to say this tongue-in-cheek, but good. Let them have socialism. Go ahead. Go for it. It doesn't do us any good to tell you that the stove is hot. You're going to touch it, figure it out for yourself.
And they're done. That doesn't work.
You don't think so?
Chicago.
Chicago is a whole
Portland,
different
Seattle.
beast, but I mean, look what happens in Florida. Everybody leaves. Now, we are entering the politics of pain. And I saw it in my home state of New Jersey, where Phil Murphy made it as hard as possible on his own citizens, got rid of 200,000 small business owners in the middle class. They all went to Florida because he won re-election by 38,000 votes. So making it bad is actually good for their power, and I do get that.
Agreed. And so what ends up happening now is New Jersey becomes entrenched Democrat. New York becomes entrenched Democrat. Seattle, Portland, California. You get geographic hyperpolarization.
Yeah, balkanization.
And then you're going to end up with... So someone asked me recently, why is it bad that Mamdani won in New York? Who cares? Let New York burn. And I said, New York has what, I think 11 congressional seats? And with the exodus of moderate to conservative leading people and high income earners, you are going to have in the next midterm, they're talking about a socialist primarying Hakeem Jeffries. And Hakeem Jeffries will lose because the moderates have fled because Zohran Mamdani won. This means that it's going to come to an election of Hakeem Jeffries versus communist, and communist wins, and now we're going to have more communists in the federal government, and then they're going to keep voting to bring in illegal immigrants, tear down our borders, and burn the country to the ground. That's the problem with socialists winning in these districts, and it keeps happening. Then what happens when you have red states versus blue states, and they are so geographically hyperpolarized, it's not even a question of abortion, right? Here's the example I've used. Oklahoma, abortion totally banned. Colorado, abortion up to 9 months. That's a morally divergent, extreme case where that's terrifying. What happens when every issue is like that? What happens when people in Colorado are doing meth and heroin at the same time in the streets, and Oklahoma says we have to put up border guards on the highways going from Oklahoma to Colorado to stop the drug traffickers that are coming in because Colorado allows them to produce and distribute. Now you've got border checkpoints between states. Then Colorado votes in the federal government to legalize heroin and methamphetamine federally. They say we're going to take it off the schedule, and all the blue commies vote, and they inch out the Republicans. Or Thomas Massie is like, I refuse, I abstain. Then you get a red state saying, no, a red line has been crossed. Or how about this? What happens if you get enough communists in Congress where they vote to legalize federally up to 9 months abortion and force red states to comply? This is where you get into the territory where the red states say it's never going to happen and we will defy the federal government. This is the problem with how things are bifurcating and why it's a problem that Donald Trump isn't being a leader to young people. You make a great point. He's a deal maker. I understand why Trump said we need H-1Bs. He's looking at the math. Economically, we don't have the young people. We don't have the skilled middle class right now to take up these managerial jobs and these manufacturing jobs. So Scott Bessent is saying temporarily we will have H-1Bs so they can do these shipbuilding and these steelworking or aluminum jobs, and then we'll start working on Gen Z. Not going to work, and it's just not reality. Well, Gen Z's not going to have kids. They're not going to take these jobs.
Yeah. It's actually a lie. It's not even these high skilled jobs. It's low jobs. It's not. It's like store clerk or cashier. Right. It's not what people really think it is. And I think the bottom line to it is the Trump administration needs to pivot to a message that gets the attention of Gen Z, because if they fail to do that, it's not just a message, but results, which might come next spring, by the way. Because I think we're just in this period of where everything is a grind, it's monotonous, nothing's looking good. But then when January comes around, tax money comes in, cases start, these indictments actually go to court. What if some of this stuff actually swings his way? How will people feel then?
Far left will burn things down and kill people.
I think
you don't win a lot of you don't win a lot of supporters doing that, though. Their action front has actually been something that has been a net negative to them. Right. So, I mean,
agreed.
We need to also invest in the culture, right? The right just punts on culture. We don't have TV. We don't have movies. We don't have anything that okay, great. So you're making money, but you don't reinvest in anything. They don't promote their worldview. Something as simple as Tommy Boy, right? Not to go too far afield here, but We don't make those movies anymore. And if you think Tommy Boy, you think fat guy in a little coat, right?
Yeah.
Fat guy, but what is Tommy Boy? Tommy Boy is a literal journey of self-discovery where a guy goes on the road, learns the value of fellowship, hard work, saves his dad's company, saves the community. It is the American dream. He gets the girl in the end, right? If that movie's made today, him and David Spade end up making love in the second act, and
wait. And then he returns home, and the business is transferred over to a black lesbian to run.
That's right. You should make it's a community center.
You should make a movie about guys
It's a community center.
Subsidized by the government.
It's a subsidized, and that's what Netflix does.
You got to make a movie about guys making that movie that you're just talking about, the woke Tommy Boy thing. It's a movie about these fools making a crappy movie.
But our movies are our parables. Our just being a big, strong American. When was the last time you saw that? I mean, we had Arnold Schwarzenegger shaking hands with Carl Weathers, and that was like, yeah, get a load of this, Russia. You can't even understand everything that we even have. Again, for Gen Z, everything they watch, doomer. This sucks. White people suck. America sucks. Like
everything is
the last movie they had on Netflix where the missile is shot, and they're showing everybody.
That movie sucks.
The movie sucks, but it's also so incompetent. So you're saying every one of our 4-star generals like, oh my God, a missile's coming. How do you think that movie would go in the 80s?
I want to
It would be
stress
Superman flying out there punching the muscle.
that
were
movie
upset
is
at that
called,
movie.
was it House Full of Dynamite?
Yes,
Something like that?
yeah.
It's not a movie. It's a 20-minute short film with no ending, repeated 4 times.
It's communist propaganda.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just communist propaganda. Everything. Squid Games, communist propaganda. The communists are investing. The communists are winning because they are investing in their message. The communists are winning.
The communists are winning, yes, for those reasons, but it's because they're blindly unified.
They're religious zealots.
Right. And
we're having a political conversation with people that are religious zealots.
Yep.
And on the right, rest assured, Donald Trump will bring in more Indian workers and Chinese visas, and your thought leaders will have an argument over Israel and Candace Owens and Megyn Kelly instead. This is the point about why it's demoralizing. Like again, I want to make sure it's very clear. I'm not saying anybody's an obligation to talk about stuff. Candace Owens can talk about whatever she wants. The point is, there's no more leadership. And I wonder if it's because Charlie was holding things together more than people realized, even behind the scenes.
Probably right. But I also think, and again, maybe I'm just too far afield in this, Megyn Kelly's got a lot of money, right? Instead of, Sean Hannity goes on and he just whines about liberal Hollywood. Sean, why don't you take some of that money, invest in a movie, and then you could talk about your movie coming out.
I gotta jump in and agree. What really frustrates me is we here at Timcast spend almost all of the money that comes in on trying to build culture to push back in ways where we can do it most effectively. So Tales from the Inverted World, Shane Cashman, he's critical of the AI, he's critical of Elon, and he's talking about weird, wild conspiracy. The purpose of doing that show is a segment of people who are apolitical. So we want to enter a space where the values that we hold, pro-America, Christian values, they will permeate into other spaces. So that is a host like Shane is great to talk about Bigfoot and aliens, but his core is Christian values. We have with the Boonies, skateboarding got taken over by woke, and they're trying to get kids to do weird gay stuff. And so I said, we need to be leaders in this space. I know a lot of people are critical of it. I think I talked about this with Father Ripperger. I asked him if he thought it was demonic possession, that there are people pretending to be conservatives telling the right to abandon sports, video games, and the arts.
Crazy.
And he said yes. That it is demonic influence, obsession, not position. I don't want to put words in his mouth. But when you have like G Prime 85, who made these hilarious cartoons mocking the Biden administration that went massively viral and were really effective, and conservatives attacked him nonstop, I'm like, those aren't real conservatives, because you want to win culturally.
We won with memes. We won this last election with memes, man.
We need to be inspiring people. So here's back to the original point. I look at people like Kennedy, and his salary estimates were like $50 million or something like that. And I'm like, that's crazy. Dude could fund 5 movies per year without even breaking half his bank. You could do $1 million budget on drama, short films, low cost, and now with AI, your CGI costs are gone. Someone like Kennedy who actually cared, because we're trying as hard as we can to do this. We're trying to create cultural waves, music or otherwise, and it's because it's what we know, so that we can inspire people. And then I look, and I've talked about this quite a bit, these ultra-wealthy people on the right, with all due respect, I don't know what Candace or Megyn Kelly or Tucker are doing outside of making a show with all the money they make, the millions of dollars in revenue that they generate, what are they doing with it? Honest question. I'm not trying to disparage them. I'm just saying there is more than enough money on this side to create cartoons, shows, comedy, or otherwise, and we don't see it.
And scientific laboratories. Like, politics is downstream of culture. That's a famous term. Culture is downstream of science, which used to be religion. Before science existed, it was just religion. That was the belief structure of reality. Now we believe in science as kind of most people's religion. Some people blend religion and science, but you need to build religion and science. You don't need to build religion. You need to build science. You need to control the networks that allow you to propagate culture, which will then change the minds of people in politics.
Well, a good point to what you're saying, Ian. The left uses science to control their cult. They publish. What was it? Did you guys just see that one of these COVID studies got retracted because of lack of real data? And it was used during COVID to convince people to abandon any alternative medication and just go with the vaccines. The left, they've infiltrated academia so that they can publish only the studies they want. Yeah. When there was a study out of the University of Oregon, I think it was, that said potentially transgenderism in young people was social contagion, activists complained and they pulled it.
Well, you know what? Not all students in the art and the sciences have been bought. This is actually laser-induced graphene. Alex Latham, when I went to the Rice University Nanotechnologies lab, he used a laser to etch Timcast into this polymer, Timcast News, Politics, and Culture. He hit it with a laser so hot that it turned the plastic into graphene. So I'm going to give this to you, Tim. We'll keep this here on the table.
Yeah, put it on top. Yeah,
he was very excited. He loves you. He was very excited that I was working with you and with him to promote these technologies. And I think that as much as we want to save and preserve our culture and our world, so many scientists
This is something that's just a little, it's a little raw to me. I think you guys have had Dave Landau on.
Yep.
Yeah,
Great dude. So I write on his show Normal. We got canceled yesterday, so it's a little raw, right? But for more political punditry, for more doomerism, for more, everybody talks about what's wrong in America because it gets clicks. They never proffer any solutions. They never say, okay, this is bad, but this is what I would do differently, right? I mean, as Ron Paul famously said, I was a libertarian for a long time before I came to grips with the fact that that's probably as utopian coded as communism is.
Same thing with me. I was Ron Paul guy.
Yeah, we'll just let the marketplace of ideas, and China's just like, yes, do that, yes, okay, yeah. We'll infiltrate your systems for 100 years, and your children will be reading Lenin. So yeah, the concept, is it's too profitable to be a doomer. We have problems, sure, the horrors persist, but so do we. If I could be a hippie white pill right now, not to steal your role here, Ian, but if the concept is, look at how they have pushed us. We have been subject for at least 10 years, if not 20, all right, to economic warfare, biological warfare, psychological warfare. It's been a nonstop information and propaganda war. They have tried to separate us by race. They have tried to separate us by gender. They have tried to turn people against each other based on political views, on religion, and yet still we're here. Still we're together. Still, the fabric of society may be stretched, but I travel this country doing comedy, and it's on the ground. It is not the same in real life as it is online, right? They have done everything they possibly can do to destroy us and demoralize us, and we've taken some hits, sure, but this country persists and it survives. And we're going through the birthing pains of this fourth industrial revolution, and I hope that we can outgrow our problems. I don't know if we can or we can't, but the issue that, to your point, Tim, there's a lot of money in telling everybody how bad it is, and nobody is showing anything. And the Ron Paul quote is, the problem with Bernie Sanders, he said, the problem with Bernie Sanders is he identifies all of America's problems correctly. He just offers solutions that would make them worse.
Yep.
Right? So where are the solution people? Where are the people that are saying, I offered it before. Go after student loan debt. Tim's right. You're losing Gen Z. That doesn't mean they're lost. You can win them back tomorrow.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.